Good evening, Mr. Zaki, Zainal, Arifin, my classmates. We would like to introduce, my name is Inaya, and here is my colleague,
Ayu, Linda.
and we would like to give a presentation about a kind of letter. Chapter 1, Introduction. 1. A background context. A letter is a written message from one part to another containing information, which means that a letter is a written message from one to another that contains an information. It includes 5 things of its functional use. 1. As an information tool. 2. A request needs. 3. Part of an idea or inspiration. 4. An instrument of a written evidence, a reminder or a historical evidence. 5. A working tool or guideline. Letter is a communication tool that had been used ages ago to ease the communication of humankind who lives nearby or far from each other. Historically, letters have existed from the time of ancient cities such as Rome, India, etc., up to the present day. During the 17th and 18th century, letters were used as a self-educate. Letters were a way to practice critical reading, self-expressive writing, polemical writing, and also exchange ideas with like-minded others. For some people, letters were seen as a written performance. For others, it was not only seen as a performance but also as a way of communication and a method of gaining feedback. In the ancient world, letters were written on a various different materials, including metal, lead, wax-coated wooden tablets, pottery fragments, animal skin, and papyrus. In early century, people used to send their letter by using a well-trained pigeon, eagle, or a falcon. As time grew by, along with the technology and ideas, most of these ways are forgotten. In order to keep the confidential of what's written, some people also use men to delivery and take their letters. Some believes that it will be more safety to send your letter by trusted men such as their maids or a coachman. Nowadays, in modern era of humankind, the old fashion of writing letter have been long forgotten. Letter itself now transformed into a breakthrough sophisticated in a way tools called email, mobile, even a computer. So people don't need to go out to send their letters and still be able to share any information using those technology. Though there are some people who still using the old way of sharing information or personal news and even a business matter despite using a sophisticated technology, here is a few advantages of writing letter. 1. No special device is needed to receive a letter, just a postal address, and a letter can be read immediately on receipt. An advertising mailing can reach every address. An advertising mailing can reach every address in a particular area. 3. A letter provides immediate and in principle permanent physical record of communication without the need for printing. Letters, especially those with a signature and or on an organization's own note paper, are more difficult to falsify than an email and thus provide much better evidence of the contents of the communication. 4. A letter in the sender's own handwriting is more personal than an email. 5. Letters are unable to transmit malware or other harmful files that can be transmitted by email. There are types of letter, a formal and an informal. A formal letter is a letter written to a business, a college, or any professional matters that are not considered friends or family. Examples: applying for a job, complaint report, gathering information, inquiry letter, writing to another, writing to an editor, and etc. On the formal letter, sender address and date is in on top of the right of the, on top is in the top right corner. For name, position, and address of the person you are writing to is on the top left corner. For informal letter is a letter you write to a friend or family. Informal tone friendly, chatty, and relaxed as though you are talking to the person directly. And usually sign off with phrases such as best wishes, love, yours truly, lots of love, etc. For chapter 2 will be continued by Linda.
Parts of business letter. 1. Date. The deadline in a letter is typed 3 or 4 lines below the last time of the letterhead. The standard deadline in the United States and various other countries is the full name of the month, no abbreviations, followed by the day and the year. A comma separates the day of the month from the year. No periods follows the date. Example, January 29, 1985. However, in Europe and many other countries, most widely used format to write the date is day, followed by the month of the year. Example, Monday, 29th January 1985. In order to avoid confusion in international correspondence, do not use numeral to indicate a month, but always type out of the full name of the month. Thus, do not write 005 or 9 1900 or 2009. If you want to indicate it, the date of 5 September, because an American business would resume that you mean my name instead of September 5. 2. Attention line. The attention line is primarily used by is business letters. If in use, the notation personal of or confidential is placed 2 or 3 lines below the deadline. And 3. Inside address. The inside address, which identifies the name of the person and the name and address of the company or organization to whom the letter is addressed, is typed 2 lines below the date or attention line. Example, Mrs. Jutlinda, Director, Corporate Planning Department, and Chodowski Company Inc., double OO Highwood Avenue, Midland, MA. 4. A subject or reference lines. The subject or reference lines, which is often underlined, is placed below the inside address. This line is used if you want to include or refer to a file or reference number, act of an order, the name of special project or a certain date in the letter. The word reference is often abbreviated as reference or RE. It should be pointed out that certain companies place the subject or reference line below the salutation of the letter. And 5. Salutation. The salutation is business or private letter which greets the address appropriately should use the person name is possible. Always make sure the person's name is spelled correctly. The salutation is business letter is usually followed by a colon. The comma is used the salutation of business letter, but is instead saved for personal letters and letters of condolence and sympathy. The following are correct salutation used is letter. Example for a woman, dear sir, dear Mrs. August, dear Rabbi Korsten. And for one man, dear sirs, gentleman. And if you know the person well, dear Robert. For a woman, dear madam, dear Mr. Gruber. For more than one woman, a ladies.
Next presentation will be continued by Ayu.
Body of the letter. The body of the letter is the main part of the business letter. It is usually single spaced and has double spacing between paragraph and before the complementary closing. 7. Complementary closing. The complementary closing ends the letter. It is typed 2 lines below the last line of the body of the letter. Only the first letter of the first word of the closing is capitalized. A comma follows the closing. Complementary closing vary in formality as indicate below. 8. Signature line. The name of the person who signed the letter is typed 3 or 4 lines below the complementary closing. The handwritten signature is placed between the complementary closing and the signature line. 1 line below the signature line, the position or title of the person who signed the letter is typed. 9. Reference initial, enclosure notation, and copy notation. Additional information in a business letter may be included below the last of the signature block. For example, reference initial, enclosure notation, and copy notation. The reference initial following the signature line usually are proceed by the writer's initial in capital letters and separated by a colon, followed by the initial of the person who has typed the letter in lowercase letter. Type of business letters: order letters, cancellation letters, confirmation letters, complaint letters, invitation letter, apology letter, thank you letter, resume with a job application, memorandum, and etc. Type of letter form: business letter can be written with different style, such as the block style, the semi-block style, the indented style, the full block style, the hanging indented style.
That's the presentation about a kind of letter. I'm Naya, Linda, and Ayu are signing off. Thank you.
Thank you.